The sad truth is that there are worlds among the multiverse simply meant to die.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 darkest what-if moments. Beware of a multiverse of spoilers ahead.
You can't do this.
But we must.
Number 20. Black Widow's attacked by her former family.
Hey sisters, how you girls doing? Okay.
When Natasha Romanoff was a child, a woman named Melina pretended to be her mother as part of an undercover spy program. The young Black Widow also spent time growing up in a cruel training facility known as the Red Room with other girls. Both aspects of Natasha's past came back to haunt her in a grim sequence. After a mission brings Black Widow close to the Red Room, she's attacked by her fake mother and quote-unquote sisters. During the extended fight, Melina encourages her soldiers to target an injury Natasha got as a child.
Hit her harder! Agnesta, aim for her left knee. She damaged it in bicycle accident in 3rd grade.
Black Widow is also nearly killed by the woman she once had to call mother. This extraordinarily somber family reunion emphasized how horrifying Natasha's past truly was.
Nat! You're right!
No.
Number 19. Peggy loses Steve again.
I can't lose you again.
We both know what I need to do.
Despite Captain Carter's best efforts, she and Steve Rogers were never able to start a real relationship. It looked like her luck finally changed when she found a version of him in an alternate world. After the two grew closer, Peggy discovered she needed to send Steve away to save the entire 1602 universe. But even if he had been from that year, it could have never worked out. In Multiverse of Madness, it's revealed that worlds can collapse if people from one universe try to live in another. That means there was no way for Rogers and Carter to live happily ever after without risking an entire reality. Peggy and Steve's relationship was doomed as soon as they laid eyes on each other.
We never get our happy ending.
I'm sure somewhere out there, we do.
Number 18. The Grandmaster revels in death. Shortly after arriving on the planet Sakaar, Tony Stark is invited to attend the Grandmaster's birthday celebration. Iron Man soon discovers that the festivities are more violent than he could have ever anticipated. It turned out that the Grandmaster loved to celebrate his day of birth by watching aliens race to their death.
Oh, look at that flame. He was made to be roadkill.
Despite the lack of blood, the race features some pretty brutal demises. At one point, a driver and his cart are sucked into a big grinder and then used as ammunition to kill 2 more competitors. The scene's constant jokes and bright colors initially help hide how harsh this race is. But if viewers look underneath the hood of this violent birthday celebration, they'll see the Grandmaster's cruelty staring right back.
Wow. Well, a fitting end for... Who was that?
Number 17. Loki invades Earth.
We have the same enemy here. The person who killed your brother also killed 2 of my people. Good people. We should be working together.
We are not allies.
After Thor is unjustly slain on Earth, Loki arrives to punish the villain responsible. He agrees to team up with Nick Fury to bring Hank Pym to justice for going after the God of Thunder. After a fun final battle, Loki decides to turn on his new ally. He brings Asgardian soldiers and technology to Earth and declares himself as the de facto ruler.
It's the unspoken truth of humanity that you crave subjugation. The bright lure of freedom hobbles you, diminishes your life's joy.
And to make matters worse, nearly all the Avengers that were around in the original timeline had already fallen. Fortunately, Fury knew at least 2 captains who would be willing to rebel against Loki's tyranny. The might of those heroes and a newly arrived Black Widow will hopefully be enough to save this oppressed world.
You and your replacement Avengers fought valiantly, but now I think it's time you told me all your secrets.
Number 16. Kilmonger slays Rhodey and T'Challa. The devious Kilmonger supported Tony's decision to send Rhodey to a black market vibranium deal.
We send Rhodey. There, he's U.S. Air Force, and he's the company's military liaison. We're all above board.
I think that's a great idea.
At the same time, the villain ensured the Wakandans knew Americans were trying to purchase their most precious resource under the table. Killmonger's complex plan ensured that Black Panther and Rhodey ended up in the same place. The villain took advantage of that fact by slaying both of them while they were distracted.
Let me take the vibranium back where it belongs.
Sorry, cuz. That ain't gonna fly.
Once they were both gone, Killmonger made it look like Rhodey and Black Panther had ended each other's lives. The villain's sinister plot increased tensions between two countries while taking two good men from the world. And although Tony figured out the truth, he couldn't stop Killmonger's dark plot.
Word to the wise, never play Clue with Jarvis. He sees all.
Go ahead, call the cops. Still won't get here in time to save you.
Number 15. The Watcher lets a world burn. Minutes after Peggy failed to save Queen Hela from a worldwide catastrophe in 1602, the super soldier became the royal family's biggest enemy. While the captain was figuring out her next move, the Watcher moved in closer for an important conversation. The cosmic being essentially told the heroine to abandon the world.
I'm not leaving.
Worlds die every day. I've watched millions fade from existence. It happens.
Well, not on my watch.
After Carter fails to heed his advice, the Watcher returns again and urges Peggy to just let the world burn. Audiences already knew that the Cosmic Man rarely intervenes when universes are in danger, but seeing him actually abandon a world full of people and his friend Peggy made him feel colder than ever. The Watcher showed that he'd rather watch a person close to him die than lend a hand.
I'm sorry, this world is destined to die. You can't change that.
Number 14. The End of Hela's childhood. The Goddess of Death spent most of her What If episode obsessed with gaining power and conquering others. But it's only after she loses her Asgardian abilities that we learn why she was so power hungry. During a flashback, we see that Hela was a normal child that loved playing with her pet. Everything changed after her father Odin chained her dog up and said that it was time for her to start helping him conquer other realms.
He is born with the heart of a fighter, just like his mistress. The king must tame his threats to ensure that they fight for him.
The heartbreaking scene made it clear that Hela could have grown up as a well-adjusted royal. Unfortunately for her, Odin preferred to forge her into a tool of war that he could point towards his enemies.
You will obey.
You had your throne, so you threw away your sword, forgetting that she was your own daughter. I will no longer be party to your conquest.
Number 13. Stephen Strange absorbs living creatures.
This is where it starts for you, with the death of Dr. Christine Palmer. So overwhelmed by loss, you will seek answers in the mystic arts.
Although Doctor Strange has the ability to travel back to the night where his beloved Christine died, he can't seem to prevent her demise from happening over and over again. He eventually learns that there is a twisted way to get the power he needs to change fate.
Aha! Gain the power through the absorption.
We watch as Strange steals life from a series of monstrous-looking beings to increase his own magical capabilities. As he absorbs more creatures, we get foreboding hints that he is becoming more beastly too. Although Strange's intentions were good, the way he gained his power was truly evil. This absorption sequence marked the point where the hero we knew became a villain.
He's on the wrong path. I could warn him, intervene. But the fate of his universe is not worth risking the safety of all others.
Number 12. War comes to Wakanda. After Killmonger makes it look like Tony Stark was murdered by a Wakandan warrior, US General Ross sends vibranium drones to attack the advanced nation. Although the robots are tough, the African army prevails in the end. But the Wakandan victory isn't the end of the conflict. Upon losing the first skirmish, General Ross pledges to attack the African nation with more powerful weapons.
I want all Jericho missiles locked and loaded by 0600.
Yes, sir.
All due respect, sir, isn't that a lot of firepower to aim at a country most Americans can't find on a map?
By tomorrow, they won't need to.
The next time we see this version of Wakanda, the country is on fire and in the midst of being occupied by the US military. Killmonger's manipulations plunged the isolated nation into a war it never asked for. And even though he was removed from the equation, there's no telling if this universe's Wakanda can regain the world's trust.
Was it worth it? My cousin.
Yeah, I did what I had to do.
Number 11. Nebula is betrayed and nearly murdered. In one bleak universe, Nebula was working for the Nova Corps when she learned that her ally Yondu had been brutally murdered by an unknown assassin. During her investigation, her shady ally Yon-Rogg betrays her and leaves her to drown. Nebula narrowly managed to escape a watery doom, but shortly after getting to safety, it's revealed that the head of the Nova Corps was the true villain all along. The big bad decides to cover her tracks by ordering Nebula's execution.
Finish her, and make sure you melt down the pieces when you're done.
Yes, ma'am. It's difficult to see the character suffer at the hands of Nova Corps officers, and although she escapes, local civilians still treat her like garbage. It's a miracle Nebula didn't turn back to the dark side after her hellish near-death experiences.
Oh, Nebula. Nebby, are you okay?
Golly gosh, I barely recognized her.
Number 10. The inevitable death of Steve Rogers. Years after Steve Rogers was presumed dead, a brainwashed version of him returned wearing a seriously deadly suit. He nearly killed his former best friend before his longtime love interest Peggy knocked him out. Sadly, things didn't get better from there. It turned out that Rogers wouldn't be able to live outside of the Hydra Stomper armor he was trapped in.
You can't remove it? Not unless you want to put him straight into a coffin.
Furthermore, the very suit that was keeping him alive could kill him at any moment. These dark revelations helped paint a very dark portrait of the remainder of Steve's days. Whether he found a way out of the suit or stayed inside it, Rogers wouldn't be able to live much longer as a free man.
Steve, I can't lose you again. Wait, no, Steve, no!
Number 9. Kahorti's people lose their homes and freedom.
Greed and grief ignited a terrible battle amongst the surrounding nations. In the end, peace was made.
A group of villagers were living a peaceful existence until Spanish conquistadors arrived. The invaders made a violent debut by shooting at innocents and setting everything aflame. By the time the conquistadors actually stated what they wanted, most of the village had been reduced to ashes. The worst part of their invasion came after the villains realized they wouldn't get the magical prize they had sought after. Instead of leaving the villagers in the ruins of their society, the conquistador leader ordered for the innocent people to be chained up. His despicable actions proved that there were no depths to this man's cruelty. If Kahorti hadn't returned to free her people, the conquistador would have gotten away with an unimaginable injustice. Number 8. The heroes lose hope.
Another survivor camp claims to have made progress on a cure.
Awesome! Global crisis solved! High fives all around, guys.
Not quite.
A team of heroes gets word that a zombie cure might be waiting for them in New Jersey. But during the train ride, Hope gets infected with the virus. Her allies try to stay optimistic that they could find a cure to save her just in time. But when the train runs out of fuel in a zombie-infested area, Hope decides to lay down her life to get her friends to safety.
Peter! Smile. Smile for me, okay?
Watching her take her final steps was incredibly heartbreaking. Unfortunately, her demise becomes even more tragic when we see her come back as a zombie and attack her friends. Seeing the heroine turn into a member of the Walking Dead gave us little hope that this timeline could get better.
I'm sorry. She gave her life so we could get the cure.
Number 7. Sacrificing lives to the Forge. Strange Supreme knew that he didn't have enough power to restore everything he lost. So, he decided to get what he needed in the absolute worst way. During the Season 2 finale, Strange Supreme revealed that he built a forge that could be fueled by the lives of very powerful beings.
Oh no, he's begun! He's feeding them to the forge!
What made this plan worse than the time he absorbed a variety of creatures was that he didn't just stop at sinister threats. This time around, Strange Supreme was willing to throw the most noble heroes inside the forge if it got him closer to his goal.
I gave you a choice, Peggy Carter. They will feed my machine.
While Peggy and Kahorti are able to save most of the good guys, they couldn't stop Strange Supreme from falling into the dark machine. Number 6. Natasha confronts the Watcher.
And then there was one.
I won't go back there. My world is gone.
Once the Guardians of the Multiverse complete their mission, the Watcher enables them to return back to their original realities. However, Natasha refuses to go. She reminds the Watcher that her home was completely ravaged by Ultron in an emotional speech. And when Natasha asked him to do something to aid her home, he reveals that he's either unwilling or unable to.
Then fix my world.
I can't, Natasha.
The Watcher instead decides to take her to a less damaged world that's in the midst of a huge conflict. While his gesture is nice, Natasha still has to carry the weight of losing everyone she knows. She also must live with the fact that the powerful Watcher didn't move to save her world.
We're just stories to you. We're not real. You watch us fight, win, lose. Tell me, did you make popcorn while Ultron murdered my friends and burned my world to the ground?
Number 5. Starlords Forced to Slaughter Worlds. While most supervillains destroy societies with their own hands, the depraved ego made his young son Peter sow chaos. The boy left a path of destruction across countless worlds. According to Thor, Peter even managed to annihilate Asgard's armies. After hearing about the countless lives that perished by his hands, we heard a twisted truth. It's implied that Ego was directly controlling Peter's darkest actions the entire time.
Everything that's happening, it's not me, it's him. He has this power to get inside my head.
The thought that the kid might have had to watch worlds fall while being powerless to stop it is horrifying. Although Peter's story ends on a hopeful note, he can't bring back all the lives that were lost. He can only avenge all the beings that died because the atrocious Ego didn't know when to stop.
You killed my mother?
No. I get it. You're upset. But you know you don't have the power to destroy me, Peter.
Number 4. Hawkeye dies as a villain.
Drop your weapon!
I swear, I didn't shoot.
It was tough watching members of the original Avengers lineup meet their ends in a variety of gruesome ways. Hulk's demise was particularly grim and hard to watch. However, Hawkeye arguably had the saddest death of them all. He was given the task of observing Thor by S.H.I.E.L.D. higher-ups. All of a sudden, one of Hawkeye's arrows flies loose and fatally wounds the God of Thunder. The Archer is quickly arrested and left questioning how this tragedy could have happened.
This doesn't make any sense. I don't slip. I don't misfire.
And before Hawkeye could learn that he wasn't responsible, Hank Pym takes his life. Knowing that the Archer died confused and disgraced made his last scene stand out in an episode full of depressing demises.
Barton had a wife and kids. If he was gonna go, it wouldn't be willingly.
You think he was murdered?
If I had to guess, my money is on the same someone who killed Stark.
Number 3. Ultron overwhelms the Watcher. We initially thought the worst thing Ultron was going to get away with was launching nuclear weapons on his version of Earth.
We're too late. He did it.
However, he accomplished something far worse after gaining the power of all the Infinity Stones. After becoming aware of the multiverse, Ultron decides to bring his violent version of peace to new realities.
So many universes, so much chaos. They need to be silenced.
You do not have to do this.
But the Watcher attempts to break the robot first. Unfortunately, he's unable to keep up with Ultron's raw power. The Watcher is left with no choice but to retreat. If this episode didn't end on an optimistic scene where the Cosmic Observer teamed up with Strange Supreme, Ultron's victory would have led to the show's grimmest ending.
Run. Watch. It doesn't matter. From here, I can see everything. No one can stop me now.
Number 2. Vision's betrayal.
I'll canvass the base. See if I can find his transport.
Sergeant Barnes, you will not find what you're looking for.
During the zombie apocalypse, Wanda Maximoff became a member of the undead horde. Since Vision was unable to cure her, he kept her fed by tricking people into becoming her next meal. The dark truth was revealed when Bucky discovered Black Panther was one of the unlucky victims. Seeing what Vision did to T'Challa was already disturbing.
Vision, what the hell is this place?
A trap.
Nkozia! We feared you were dead.
The Vision grabbed me in San Francisco. Thought he was saving me.
But knowing the synthetic being would have continued sacrificing heroes if given the chance was an unbearably grim thought. While Vision tried to logically explain what he did, there's no excusing his manipulative actions. It's impossible to look at him the same way when you know about the horrifying methods he used to keep Wanda going.
You lured innocent people to their deaths, all in the name of love?
Love sucks.
I still cannot entirely fathom what I have done.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Strange Supreme breaks reality.
I spent centuries, sacrificed everything for Christine. And now can you save her?
All the monstrous things that Strange Supreme did allowed him to bend the rules of time and save the woman he loved. However, his dark path came at a high cost. Since rescuing Christine in the past caused a massive time paradox, reality completely falls apart. Even Strange Supreme's incredible power isn't enough to stop his universe from collapsing around him, and the desperate man can't convince the Watcher to help either.
Honestly, if I could fix this, if I could punish you instead, I would. But I can't interfere. You, more than anyone else, should understand that meddling with time and events only leads to more destruction.
In the end, Strange Supreme is forced to watch Christine fade away from him one last time. His attempts to reunite with his loved caused the end of everything. We've yet to get a bleaker what-if ending than a completely isolated Strange Supreme forced to exist in an utterly broken reality.
No, 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 no. I'm sorry.
What-if reality would you never want to live in? Let us know in the comments below.
Not exactly a happy ending.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.